Hi, I'm Mike DePlater from Monolith Productions, and here to talk about Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor.
What's it been like being able to explore this world that people are so familiar with and yet forge new storyline into the bookmarks between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings?
It's no exaggeration at all to say it's an amazing privilege, to get to explore that world somewhere that we've been such a fan of since, we were kids, and, now get to explore it and in a way that's interactive, that lets other people explore and run around in it as well. It's great.
How have the novels and the movies influenced you guys when you're going and creating brand new places that we've never seen before, especially when it comes to Mordor?
So they're really the foundation of this game, and in particular Shadow of Mordor takes place in between those two. So we've got the end of The Hobbit, which sets up all of these epic events of Sauron's defeat at Dol Guldur, his return to Mordor, and then we know where we're going to end up 60 years later in the War of the Ring, and the space in between those two epic events is perfect to be able to tell other epic standalone stories.
Can you talk about the new protagonist you guys have created and how he differentiates himself from past heroes we've seen in J.R.R. Tolkien work?
So I think the thing with our protagonist, it really is actually two protagonists, although they're kind of bound together. One is Talion, who was a ranger who was slaughtered on the Black Gates when Sauron returns, and the other is the Wraith, who has basically cursed Talion, and that they are bound together to travel together. I would say where they're really grounded in Tolkien's work and those heroes is these are characters who represent the shades of grey, of characters like Boromir when he would have taken the One Ring, for example, or like Saruman when he wanted to raise an army and challenge Sauron. So these are characters who are setting out to do the right thing, but they're very much doing it through the use of power and through the direct use of violence and ruthlessness against their enemies. They're using Sauron's methods against him. And that's something that's a really core theme in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So we wanted to have a character who truly personified, we want to have two characters that really personified that idea.
Can you talk a little about the Nemesis System and kind of give us a little bit more in-depth exploration of what that means as you're going in to play the game?
So it's there's sort of a lot to it under the hood, but what the Nemesis System means when you're playing is that the bosses you face, the villains you face, are going to be uniquely yours, and the story of your boss fights and the story of your encounters with those guys is going to be uniquely yours. So their personalities are very amplified. They remember what you've done, they react to it, they grow. So it's really a way to have a living world where you have very unique and personal villains and boss fights.
Can you talk a little about or walk through, for example, the way you are able to achieve goals like you do in the demo that you had here?
Yeah. So basically we have multiple regions within the game. Within each region there is a contingent of Sauron's army, and that's divided into ranks. You have captains who are the sub-bosses, war chiefs who are the bosses. Early game you're going behind enemy lines and disrupting Sauron's forces by hunting and taking these guys down, hunting and killing them. Later, as your power grows, you can do more than that. You can actually use your powers to break their minds, bend them to your will, and actually create your own army behind enemy lines. So the way that you can manipulate the Nemesis System, the way you can either hunt and kill or control of your enemies, really continues to grow as you go through the story.
How different is an experience if I'm playing versus you're playing through?
Well, we can't even make it be the same if we try to. So if you played through the game 100 times, it would be different. You're really guaranteed to have a different experience from your friends, a different experience every time you play, a different experience from anything we've shown you. I couldn't put a number on it, but it's big.
When it comes to the world, can you talk a little about some of the new areas you guys are showcasing here today?
Yeah, so what we wanted to show today, this is the Sea of Nirn. So it's many hundreds of miles from Adun, which is where we begin the game. And this is a sort of very different looking part of Mordor. So it's much more green, it's much more lush. This is the way that Sauron's going to feed his vast armies in the future when he's got slaves tilling the fields here and he's fishing these waters. So we wanted something that was truly authentic, like it's a key part of Mordor's geography and how it's a genuine living place, but also different to what anyone's seen before.